Most men spend their entire lives projecting fantasies onto women, never truly seeing what stands before them. They worship illusions, chase shadows, and wonder why reality keeps disappointing them. But here is the truth the Stoics understood 20 centuries ago. You cannot love what you refuse to see clearly, and you cannot see clearly what you refuse to accept as it is. Before we dive deeper, if you are ready to walk this path of clear sight and inner strength, subscribe to this channel. We explore the ancient wisdom that modern men desperately need. Now, let us begin. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that we should see things as they truly are, stripped of the stories we tell ourselves about them. He called this seeing with clarity, without the distortions of desire or aversion. When it comes to understanding women, most men fail this test completely. They do not see the woman in front of them. They see their need for validation reflected back. They see their fear of loneliness wearing a pretty face. They see the mother they longed for, the fantasy they constructed from movies and songs, the escape from their own emptiness. This is not understanding. This is projection, and projection always leads to suffering. The Stoic path asks something different of us. It demands that we develop the courage to see without the filter of our desperate wanting. To observe without immediately categorizing as good or bad, desirable or rejectable. This is not cold detachment. This is warm clarity. The difference is everything. When Epictetus taught his students about relationships, he reminded them of a fundamental principle. Other people are not extensions of your will. They have their own nature, their own path, their own internal logic that has nothing to do with your needs or expectations. A woman is not a character in your story. She is the author of her own book, and you happen to appear in some of her chapters. Understanding this deeply changes everything. But we resist this understanding because it requires us to give up control, or rather, to admit we never had it in the first place. We want to believe that if we just say the right words, display the right behaviors, become the right version of ourselves, we can determine the outcome. We can make her love us, stay with us, validate us. The Stoics saw this as a fundamental confusion about what lies within our control and what does not. Here is what you control: your own character, your own responses, your own interpretations, your own choices about how to show up. Here is what you do not control: another person's feelings, attractions, decisions, or path. She will feel what she feels. She will choose what she chooses. And no amount of strategizing or self-improvement or emotional manipulation will change the fundamental truth that she is a free being moving through the world according to her own nature. So how do we see through women? Not in the cynical sense of exposing some hidden conspiracy or uncovering manipulation. That is just another form of projection, another story we tell to avoid seeing clearly. To see through means to see into, to see beyond the surface, to understand the deeper currents moving beneath behavior. Women, like all human beings, are driven by a complex mixture of biological imperatives, cultural conditioning, personal history, conscious values, and unconscious patterns. They are not simpler than men. They are not more complicated than men. They are differently complicated, and if you want to understand, you must first abandon the idea that there is a code to crack, a system to master, a secret that once learned will give you power over the situation. The Stoic approach begins with self-knowledge. Before you can see her clearly, you must see yourself clearly. What are you bringing into this interaction? What wounds are you trying to heal through her attention? What emptiness are you trying to fill with her validation? What fear are you trying to escape through her presence? Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of our confusion about women comes not from their complexity but from the complicated stories we tell ourselves about what their behavior means about us. She does not text back immediately. Your mind creates a story. She is losing interest. You said something wrong. She has found someone better. You are not enough. But the reality might be infinitely simpler. She is busy. She is tired. She is focused on something else. Her phone is in another room. The story you create causes suffering. The reality is neutral. This is where the practice begins. Can you observe her behavior without immediately making it about your worth? Can you notice your own reaction without being controlled by it? Can you see the difference between what is actually happening and the narrative your fearful mind constructs? The Stoics practiced something they called negative visualization. Imagine the worst outcome, sit with it, feel it fully, and then ask yourself, would I survive this? Almost always, the answer is yes. If she leaves, you will grieve and then continue. If she never felt what you felt, you will be disappointed and then move forward. If she chooses someone else, you will feel the sting and then heal. None of these outcomes destroy you unless you have made her validation the foundation of your identity. This is not pessimism. This is preparation. This is building an inner fortress that does not depend on external circumstances for its stability. When you know you can survive any outcome, you are free to see clearly without the distortion of desperate need. You can observe her as she is, not as you need her to be. Women sense this desperation. They feel when a man needs them to be something specific, when his entire emotional state depends on their response, when his self-worth hangs on their validation. And it repels them, not because they are cruel, but because it is a suffocating burden to be someone else's emotional life support system. No one wants to be needed in that way, but everyone wants to be chosen by someone who is already whole. So the first step in seeing through women is seeing through your own neediness. Where in your life have you made external validation necessary for internal peace? Where have you confused companionship with completion? Where have you projected the work of building yourself onto the hope that the right woman will fix what is broken inside you? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that other people would lie, cheat, betray, and disappoint. Not because they were evil, but because they were human, flawed, struggling with their own confusion. He did not do this to become cynical. He did this to stop being surprised, to stop feeling personally victimized by ordinary human imperfection. He prepared his mind to see people as they were, not as he wished them to be. Apply this to your understanding of women. She will be inconsistent because all humans are inconsistent. She will say one thing and do another because the human mind is divided against itself. She will want closeness and then distance because intimacy triggers both longing and fear. She will be attracted to you and also to others because attraction is not a single, simple response but a complex reaction to multiple factors. None of this means she is playing games. It means she is human. But here is what most men miss. She is also watching you for signs that you see her clearly. Can you hold space for her contradictions without making them about you? Can you stay centered when she is uncertain? Can you let her have her own experience without needing to control or fix it? This is the Stoic test. This is what it means to be unmoved by external chaos while remaining fully present and engaged. If you are ready to go deeper into these ancient practices, hit that subscribe button. We are just getting started, and the path ahead requires commitment. The Stoics distinguished between impressions and assent. An impression is the initial thought or feeling that arises. Assent is your agreement with that impression, your decision to believe it and act on it. When she does something that triggers your insecurity, the impression arises automatically. She does not care, you are not enough, this is ending. But you do not have to give assent. You can observe the impression, recognize it as a product of your conditioning and fear, and choose a different interpretation grounded in reality. This is the practice. She cancels plans. The impression, Rejection. The reality. She had a family emergency. She is overwhelmed with work. She is dealing with something that has nothing to do with you. Can you sit with not knowing? Can you extend the benefit of doubt without collapsing into neediness or hardening into resentment? This is the narrow path the Stoics walked. Not naive trust, not cynical suspicion, clear-eyed observation without premature judgment. To see through women is to see through the fog of your own projections, fears, and fantasies. It is to recognize that she is navigating her own complex inner world just as you are navigating yours. Her behavior is not a message written in code specifically for you to decipher. It is her authentic response to her circumstances, filtered through her history, shaped by her nature, expressed through her choices. Epictetus taught that we should separate what we can control from what we cannot, and then invest our energy only in what is within our power. You cannot control whether she loves you. You can control whether you become a man worth loving. You cannot control whether she stays. You can control whether you build a life worth staying for. You cannot control her feelings. You can control your own character. This shift in focus is revolutionary. Most men exhaust themselves trying to manage the unmanageable, trying to engineer emotions in another person, trying to become whoever they think she wants them to be. This is a guaranteed path to suffering because it places your peace in someone else's hands. The Stoic places his peace in his own hands, in his own choices, in his own daily practice of virtue. What does this look like practically? It means you stop performing. You stop crafting texts designed to create specific reactions. You stop calibrating your behavior based on what you think will make her like you more. You stop hiding parts of yourself that you fear she will reject. Instead, you show up as yourself, clearly and consistently, and you let her decide if that works for her. This is not arrogance. This is honesty, and it is the only foundation on which anything real can be built. Women are more perceptive than most men realize. They sense the performance. They feel the inauthenticity. They notice when you are trying too hard, when you are hiding, when you are not fully present because you are too busy managing their impression of you. And it creates distance, not because they reject the real you, but because they never get to meet the real you. They only meet the anxious, performing version who is terrified of rejection. The Stoic solution is radical self-acceptance, not in the modern sense of refusing growth or settling for mediocrity, but in the sense of knowing your own worth independent of external validation. You are a human being capable of reason, virtue, and growth. Your value is intrinsic, not granted by another person's approval. When you know this deeply, you stop needing her to confirm it. And paradoxically, this is when you become most attractive, most magnetic, most genuinely appealing. Because she can finally breathe around you. She does not have to manage your emotions or carry the weight of your self-esteem. She can just be herself, and you can just be yourself, and you can discover if there is genuine compatibility rather than a complex dance of mutual performance. But this requires courage. It requires the willingness to be rejected for who you actually are rather than accepted for who you are pretending to be. It requires trusting that the right match will appreciate your authentic self, and the wrong match rejecting your authentic self is actually a favor, a clear sign to move on without wasting years in incompatibility. Seneca wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Every rejection, every disappointment, every moment of seeing clearly and accepting reality as it is, builds your character. You become less fragile, less dependent, less controlled by external circumstances. You develop the inner strength to stand alone, which ironically makes you a better partner when you choose to stand with someone. Here is a question to sit with. Are you trying to understand women so you can manipulate outcomes, or so you can relate more authentically? Your answer reveals your character. The Stoic seeks understanding not for control but for wisdom, not for advantage but for truth. He knows that any relationship built on manipulation is already corrupted at the foundation. Only what is built on truth can last. To see through women is to see them as complete human beings, not as means to your ends. She is not an achievement to unlock, a problem to solve, a resource to extract from. She is a conscious being with her own dignity, her own path, her own right to make choices that have nothing to do with what you want. When you truly absorb this, you stop taking her choices personally. You stop interpreting her no as a referendum on your worth. You simply acknowledge that she has made a choice based on her own criteria, and you respect it. This respect is the foundation of Stoic relating. You see her clearly, without illusion. You accept her as she is, without trying to change her into what you want. You allow her the freedom to make her own choices, even when those choices disappoint you. And you maintain your own inner stability regardless of what she chooses. This does not mean you accept poor treatment. The Stoics drew clear boundaries. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you should tolerate others but never compromise your own principles. If someone consistently violates your boundaries, disrespects your values, or treats you in ways that diminish your dignity, the Stoic response is not to endure it in silence. It is to remove yourself from the situation with calm clarity. You do not need to make her wrong to leave. You do not need to demonize her to protect yourself. You simply recognize that this particular connection does not serve your growth, your peace, or your values, and you choose differently. This is agency. This is self-respect. This is the Stoic power to say no to what does not align with your commitment to virtue. But when she does treat you well, when there is genuine compatibility, when the connection serves both of your growth, the Stoic approach allows for depth that neediness never could. Because you are not clinging. You are choosing. Every day, you are choosing to be present, to engage, to invest, not because you need her to be whole, but because you value what you are building together. This transforms the dynamic entirely. She does not feel trapped by your need. She feels appreciated by your choice. And this creates the space for her to choose you back, fully and freely, without the suffocation of desperate attachment. The Stoics taught amor fati, love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens as necessary, as part of the larger pattern you cannot fully see. If she loves you, good. If she does not, also good. Not because rejection feels good, but because you trust that reality is unfolding exactly as it should, and your job is not to resist what is but to respond with wisdom and virtue to whatever comes. This is the ultimate freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of her choices. You are no longer waiting for her validation to give you permission to feel worthy. You stand in your own center, grounded in your own practice, committed to your own growth, and from that place of stability, you can see her clearly. You see her fears and do not take them personally. You see her wounds and do not try to fix them unless asked. You see her strengths and appreciate them without ownership. You see her contradictions and accept them as part of being human. You see her choices and respect them even when they hurt. This is mastery, not mastery over her, which is impossible and unethical. Mastery over yourself. Mastery over your own reactions, your own interpretations, your own need to control what cannot be controlled. And from this mastery comes a way of relating that is clean, honest, and deeply respectful. In the end, seeing through women is seeing through the illusions you have constructed about what they owe you, about what their behavior means, about what you need from them to be okay. It is recognizing that they are complete human beings navigating their own journey, and you are a complete human being navigating yours. And sometimes those journeys align beautifully, and sometimes they do not, and both outcomes are acceptable. The Stoic does not love less because of this clarity. He loves more wisely. He does not engage less because of this detachment. He engages more authentically. He does not feel less because of this discipline. He feels more deeply, because he is not drowning in the chaos of neediness and fantasy. So the question is not how to see through women as if they are obstacles to decode. The question is how to see through your own confusion, your own projection, your own fear, so that you can finally see the human being standing in front of you, exactly as she is, and decide from that place of clarity whether this is where you want to invest your presence. If this resonates with you, if you are ready to walk the Stoic path in your relationships and your life, subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, clarity is not cold. Clarity is the foundation of genuine warmth. We will continue exploring these principles in the videos ahead. The journey continues. The work never ends. And that is exactly as it should be.